of that particular beam under the ultimate tensile force or ultimate transverse load. And then member can go to the elastoplastic in region. Okay, so in that particular context, when it reaches to the yield point and when it crosses to the yield point, then only the plastification starts, and thereby a plastic hinge concept comes into the picture, and where we would have the infinite amount of rotations or the infinite curvatures within a specified or finite amount of the plastic moment resistance. So those entire thing can be discussed over here. And to explain the concept about the plastic analysis of any of the member or section, let us consider a particular rectangular section, or maybe you can consider simply a I section which has been provided over here. Okay. Here also I have been specified over here that what are the different residual stresses are coming into the picture in the flange. What is meant by the flange? Flange is, this one is typically called the flange, and this one is called the wave portion. This one is called the wave portion in the I section. Similarly, similar thing happens over there in the channel sections also. Similar thing happens over the channel section also. These are the flange and this is the wave portions. So typically what happens over here, that you see that as we are increasing the amount of moment which is being externally applied, the steadily it is increasing, when it is steadily increasing the applied moment, then at first instance the stress strain diagram or the strain profile would be looking like this way, which is provided in the figure A. Okay, once it reaches, because it is still within the elastic limit, Fy stands for the yield strength or the yield point of the steel section or the steel member. So once this strain epsilon, once the strain epsilon reaches to its yield point, then what it happens? The external fiber or external surfaces at here and here actually gets plastifications or starts plastifications. Rest of the other portion within the cross section are still within the limit of the yield strength. Okay, now as we are increasing, that is what I have been mentioned over here also, when applied moment is equal to the required moment for the yielding. Now when the applied moment is more than the yielding, then what happens? Then a certain portions along the depth direction, a certain portions gets plastifications, because already it is the plastification is already been started over here. So now slight increase, or if we are continuing increasing in applied moment, the extreme fiber end, from the extreme fiber end to a certain depth of that cross section starts plastifications. Okay, still the rest of the portions is in the elastic limit, right? So if the applied moment reaches to the plastic moment itself, then what would happen? The entire cross section plastified. Entire cross section plastified. Okay. So it can also be seen or correlating with respect to your stress strain diagram. With respect to your stress strain or the force deformation diagram also. Okay. So now when these things happens over there, so how do we calculate the MY? How do we calculate the MY? Because I said that when the moment, applied moment reaches to the yield moment, so I need to specify this yield moment, right? So now this yield moment basically dependent on a geometric factor, which is called the sectional modulus. You know already. Okay, multiplied by the yield stress of that particular material. Okay, now what is this? Let's say, for example, you can remember, I believe you can remember it. If I have a rectangular in cross section, let's say this is H and this is, let's say, B. What is my I? Would be moment of inertia, BH cube by 12. So now in the solid mechanics at some of the book, it has been represented the section modulus as S, or in some of the textbook it represented as Z. So this Z would be equal to I divided by Y by 2 or H by 2. So if it is like that, then BH square divided by 6. We came across many times while making the structure analysis also in the solid mechanics also. Okay. So now that is completely on the geometrical parameter, right? Now dependent on that which particular grade of steel you are using, the yield moment is being evaluated. Now here also at the fourth figure, it has been specified the MP. MP stands for the plastic moment. MP stands for the plastic moment. So the similar fashion also it can be evaluated. So what is the similar fashion would be? It would be the ZP times which one? What would be the stress value over here? What could be the stress value over here? Here again, you can consider the stress value is Fy, because what would happen after making this yield point? Let's say this is my Fy or this is my Fy. Okay, they have a very small variations over there, but whether we reach over here or whether we are being at here, if we reach over here, then we are getting completely on the MP value. But if you are at here, then perhaps this particular situation occurs. Okay, so in that particular context, one of the section modulus to be defined, and that section modulus multiplied by with the yield point. So from here we can calculate what is the plastic moment for that particular cross section with that particular your grade of steel would be. Okay, now how do we find it out, this ZP? ZP can be easily identified or evaluated by equating these two forces, the forces which has been acting. Let's say here this is my tensile zone, here this is my compression zone. So whatever this is T, this is C, and both the areas also are to be the same if the symmetric in cross section. If the cross section is symmetric, then both the areas would be also be same. So with this we can make the calculation of the MP value, or rather we can calculate the ZP value. So let's say, for example, if we have the similar kind of thing over, if we consider only this kind of classifications. So what would happen? It would happen something like that I said that force balance, that means T should be equal to C. Okay, the area above the neutral axis and area below the neutral axis would be the same, and or the force above the neutral axis and the force below the neutral axis will also be the same. Okay, so let's say Fy times A1 I am providing. A1 is the above the neutral axis, the area, to be equated to area Fy times A2. Okay, now since A1 is equal to A2, how much it would be? A by 2. So the moment which I am going to get is equal to Fy times A1, which is already force. Fy times A1 is the force, multiplied by the lever arm from the neutral axis to the depth of this CG of that area, let's say Y1, okay, plus Fy times A2 multiplied by Y2 bar. Okay, so from here what we are going to get? We are going to get Fy times A by 2 divided by Y1 bar plus Y2 bar. Okay, now this is equal to Fy times this, this would be equal to Zp times Fy. So for this particular case, Zp is equal to A by 2 multiplied by Y1 bar plus Y2 bar, irrespective of its geometry. Okay. So you can other way around, you can calculate by integrating over there with the first principle of that Fy multiplied by Yda. That integration also you can make it. Okay, it is basically giving you integral Yda also, right? So from there we can easily calculate what is the Zp, and once the Zp is evaluated, and you see the Zp, either it is a Zp or it is a Ze, everything is dependent on the geometry. Nothing else has been provided. Now with this geometry and the lower and the grade of the steel, we are basically trying to calculate what is the MP value would be. Okay, I think up to this it would be fine. Now we'll be coming to the next part, that is called the moment curvature relation. What this moment curvature relation actually or essentially says to us that we have already been seeing this kind of moment curvature relationship, or the section of the beam. From this section of the beam, we are basically in the solid mechanics course, we have calculated what is the Fy, what is the F would be equal to, or the what is the stress would be equal to bending stress. Okay, so what is that bending stress? Bending stress would be equal to M by Z and all, or M by S and all. Okay, now I tried to find it out or tried to mention over there, this moment curvature relationship is having a tremendous impact over to identify or to understand about the plastic hinge. Okay, so what it is saying to us, it is saying that as we are increasing the amount of external moment, it is the same thing. The plasticity, first it goes in a straight line, then it reaches to the yield point, then it goes over here and all. So one particular axis is the moment and another one particular axis is the curvature instead of stress strain diagram. So now if it is like that, then various kind of informations you will be getting over here. What are the various kind of informations you will be getting over here? You will be finding that certain portion where the maximum moment reaches to the along the longitudinal direction of the beam. Say for example, if it is a simple subplate beam, then maximum moment reaches at the center itself. So at the center itself, first the maximum moment reaches, internal moment. Then it starts dissipating once this moment reaches to the plastic moment. So this particular line, farm line, actually is the indicating that is the line where your yielding initiated or yield initiated about that point. And from that point, all other things are going over there, irrespective of whether you are having a different kinds of your geometry and all. Okay, and obviously it will be dependent on the boundary condition and the problem statement also. So the same thing I am just projecting over here to give you the whatever the things I have been already presented, how to find it out, the different ZP values. Now, if it is not symmetrical, let's say, for example, if the section is not symmetrical, in this particular I section, this particular flange is the longer flange, and this particular flange is the shorter flange. So what is going to happen? Definitely, you know already, this particular your plastification zone, if it is a symmetric, then what would happen? It would happen something like that way from the neutral axis. If it is not symmetric, then there would be a more portion or more area below or above the neutral axis, or more less or more above below or above the neutral axis. So if it is something like that, I'm just reversing. This flange is over and this flange is coming down. So depending on the orientations also, you can get many different way or many different combinations. Okay, so this is called, now the shape factor comes into the picture. Shape factor is a factor which essentially dependent on the geometrical parameter and which is having a significant effect on the plastic analysis and all. Okay, so shape factor, how they are defining? Shape factor, they are defining just the ratio of the plastic moment to the moment with the yield moment. And where from you will be getting? You will be getting an A. Again, this MP is nothing but ZP times Fy, and this is JD times Fy. So essentially, this is this shape factor is dependent on both the sectional modulus. So it is basically giving you the geometrical understanding of geometrical properties. Okay. Now in the next, we will be coming about the essential concepts of the plastic hinge. You see over here, if I think something we have been already discussed about the how this plastification occurs, or when to start or when to initiate over there. Okay, because it will initiate when it reaches to the yield moment. Then once the yield moment exceeds or yield point exceeds, it starts the plastification of that zone. So what would happen? What is actually meaning by the plastic hinge is that if you look into this particular figure, top figure, let's say I am providing certain moment over here, equal moment. Okay, even though I'm not providing equal moment, some equal forces are coming over here. Let's say I'm providing a vertical force of P. Okay, so what would happen at the center of that area? There would be full plasticity at the center of that area. Center of that area means at here, full plasticity along this portion. This is a particular line where your maximum bending moment occurs, and at that point full plastification occurs and the full depth. Okay, obviously it would be along the full depth itself. Okay, and then section will behave like in hinge. I believe that you know what is meaning by the hinge. Hinge means, here we are talking about the moment hinge. Moment hinge means basically it is a mechanical hinge, or it is a mechanical frictionless hinge. If there is no friction, then what would happen? That one to other part, if you keep one part, left part, let's say if I have a hinge over here and I have both the part, if I keep this part and if I try to make here or whatever maybe, I do the twisting moment, it will, without any friction or without any resistance, it will move it. So that movement means there is no frictional effect, or there is no particular resistance effect. So when this plastification occurs, reaches to the MP, it gives you that kind of scenario into the structural system or the structural member. Okay. And accordingly, your moment rotation curvature or moment curvature relationship will also be specified over here. Now, one thing that that we should take a note over here, there used to be a, this is called your yield length or yield section. Okay, this x is called your yield length or yield section. So it can also be identified that it can also be identified. For example, for this particular case, this, what could be the x? The next question could be coming. What could be this x? X means the region where this entire region, where the one particular side is starts yielding, it reaches to the MP or plastic moment, and again from the other portion it starts yielding and reaches to the yield point. Okay, so now there must be a finite length over which these plastic hinge actions or hinging action, frictionless hinging actions will behave or will have. So there is a very simple calculations are been there in many literatures. I am not going through those simple calculations over here. Okay, so just to make a ready solutions over there, that what could be this x for this particular case, you can do by yourself for the other cases also. It would be basically represented 1 minus L 1 minus, this is a shape factor. This would be a shape factor. Okay, so how do we do that? Just to give you a very brief idea, you first calculate what is your MP would be. Okay, your MP would be WUL by 4. Okay, so which would be equal to Fy times your ZP. Now you know the what is meant by the ZP. Fy times ZP is equal coming around for this particular case dh square by 4. Similarly, you can calculate what is your My. Okay, it would be Fy times Ze, which is Fy times Bh square by 6. Okay, now if you calculate, if you take this x would be your plasticity zone or the yielded zone, which is already been yielded. From the bending moment diagram, this is your bending moment diagram. From the bending moment diagram, you can easily do that by making this particular one particular triangle, the entire triangle, this one, and another one triangle would be about this one. You equate or My or MP. Let's say I am providing like this way, MP divided by L by 2 minus X by 2 would be equal to, sorry, it would be the My would be equal to MP divided by your L by 2. Now you know already My and MP. From there only the X is being unknown to you now. So from here you can calculate what is the X, even though I have been providing over here very this one to be, sorry, this one to be your X value. So essentially you need to have that, or to find it out what is the yield moment, what is the plastic moment, then equate it or equality of the triangles. From there you can calculate easily. Okay, for any other cases, right? So next, I just want to make use of this particular slide to give you the certain understanding about the what is the how the hinges forms, or where are the hinges forms depending on the different geometry and different loading condition. For the first case, it is a cantilever beam. So we do expect at the support, the maximum moment would be developed, M max. So depending on the load, it has been expected that at here the plastic hinge would form, or the mechanism would form over here. And mechanism means it is a failure. Similarly over here also, due to this overhang, this particular point or this particular support, over this particular support, maximum moment would reach. Okay. Similarly over here, simply supported case or any other single span beams, if it is a multi-span, depending on the loading conditions, your plastic hinge form in a different locations. So there are many alternative, many other way that you can find it out. Okay. Now, the major point that I just want to highlight over here, we have now both the things, elastic analysis and the plastic analysis. In the elastic analysis, what we do the equilibrium, we do the compatibility, and we do the moment curvature relation. In the plastic analysis also, we do the equilibrium, but that equilibrium would be different from the elastic cases equilibrium. In the elastic cases, the equilibrium would be summation of fx, summation of your f of x equal to 0, summation of f of y is equal to 0, and summation of m is equal to 0. But in the plastic analysis, the equilibrium would be based on how the bending moment is distributed, and which has been defined by the assumed plastic hinge. Okay, so in the plastic analysis, the equilibrium would be there, mechanism would be there, and plasticity would be there. How much plasticity? Whether it has been entirely plastic or it has been partially plastic. Okay. Then again, this is for a continuous kind of member or beam, where you can find the different plastic moment, and you can easily evaluate the plastic moment capacity of that particular beam also. Different configuration or different structures. So how do we calculate this plastic moment? Plastic moment we can calculate on the section. Okay, as I said over there, that Zp times Fy, this is the plastic moment. But on a beam or on a particular portal frame, how do we calculate? We can calculate by using again the conventional structure analysis technique, like your virtual work theorem. Virtual work theorem along with the kinematic principles, static and kinematic principles. Okay, so the static principles are giving you the lower bound theorem, and the kinematic principles gives you the upper bound theorem. And if both can be combined, lower and upper bound, then it is called an uniqueness theorem. I'm not sure that whether these things covered or not, but definitely the static principle or the lower bound theorem has been covered, and also the kinematics or the upper bound theorem also has been covered. Hold on, someone raised voice. Yeah, Keshav. Keshav? So he's not giving the so let me just continue with that, and later on I can give the explanation if whatever the questions is, if he's having. Okay. So this is for the different formation of the plastic hinge at different location of a portal frame. In the portal frame, this is a typical sway mechanism, and this is a combined mechanism that you know. This is a beam mechanism, and this is sway, and this is a combined mechanism. So, if it is a beam mechanism, only at the beam or at the rafter, or at the joint, this is a beam. So at 3 different places, depending on whether it is a flexible hinge or it is a rigid joint, then accordingly the plastic hinge develops. If it is a sway mechanism, then these are the particular point where plastic hinge develops. And if it is a combined, then both the things should be combined depending on whether this is a rigid connection or flexible connection or the semi-rigid connection. Next, we will be coming to the local buckling. This local buckling, even though we will not be covering the related problems over here, basically the local buckling would be covered or utilized whenever we are talking about the compression members. But I thought that whenever we are talking about the plastic analysis or plastic hinge concept, let me introduce this local buckling, what it is meant for. This local buckling means what it says. Let's say for example, first of all, what is buckling? Buckling means from here, the elastic curve or this particular column actually try to bend on its horizontal direction. Okay. If there are many other different issues, there are many other different configurations that it can be done. If it is a something like this way, then how it could be? It could be something like this, or it could be something like this. Need not be necessary that this particular point to be like this way. Okay. So this particular buckling or the column buckling is a different thing that whatever we have studied in our solid mechanics. Local buckling means, for example, if I have an I section or a channel section, whatever may be, the buckling which occurs, the individual portion of this particular section, either the flange can be buckled due to the excessive loading, or this wave may also buckle due to the excessive loading. Whenever this flange, either the flange or the wave is going to get buckled, those things are called the local buckling. And that is why it comes under the compression, design of compression member. Okay. So in the compression member, local buckling, typically as per Indian standard, we have to select certain particular section which is giving certain limitation over the B by T ratio. What is meant by the B? B means the, or the BF I could say, it is the breadth of the flange, and this is called the thickness of the flange. So essentially you have to select certain sections which is having some limitations over there. And based on these limitations, the cross sections of this, whether it is a plastic section or compact section, semi-compact section, or so slender section, has been identified. Okay. So what this plastic section or different classification of the different section? First, let us consider the plastic or the class 1. Okay. The cross sections which can develop the plastic hinges, right? And have the rotation capacity which is required for failure of the structure by formation of plastic or the plastic mechanism. Second, it would be coming to the class 2 or the compact section. In the compact sections, the cross section which can develop their plastic moment resistance certain resistance comes into the picture now. However, it can have it can have inadequate plastic hinge rotation capacity. It can have inadequate plastic hinge rotation capacity. That means inadequate means it is limiting at certain portions, but in the plastic there is no limit about the rotation. Okay. Similarly, the class 3 semi-compact section. In the semi-compact, again the similar way it can be done. The cross section in which the elastically calculated stress at the extreme compression fiber of the steel member. But local buckling is liable to prevent in the development of the plastic moment resistance. So it is coming another one limitation over here. So this is having full rotation capacity. This is having limited rotation capacity than plastic. Semi-compact is having another one limitation or restriction from the compact section of class 2. Okay, so these particular figures already, these particular figures already we have been given in at the very beginning. So from there, basically, this all the different classification comes into the picture. And slender means, slender means it will it is having very lesser resistance to the rotation. It buckles immediately as soon as the a certain particular level of the moment is being applied over there. Okay, so this classification is very much essential while making your design of the compression member. Okay, not only compression member, I would say that in most of the cases. And you see over here, as I mentioned, everything is dependent on whether it is a rolled section and all. Everything is dependent on the B by TF ratio or BF by TF ratio, or sometimes in the wave also it is giving total depth of the wave divided by the thickness of the wave. Similarly over here, depth of the wave divided by thickness of the wave. Depth of the wave and the total depth may not be the same. Okay, so you have to be very cautious about that. So if you are taking any particular sections over there, then if you are considering the plastic section, then it is having certain limiting proportion section. Semi-compact, compact and all, it is having certain limits. So we have to have, or judiciously we have to choose those sections which are having or which essentially gives this kind of information or taking this kind of restrictions over there. Otherwise, your design will be not that much safe. There may be the catastrophic failure, or there may be the catastrophic failure due to the development of the hinges or due to development of the excessive deflection. Okay. This is also the same thing will be coming back again for this particular section classification once we go to the design of compression member. So this is the limiting of the B by T ratio of the section for different cross sections, rolled beam and column, rolled channel. Rolled means hot rolled, not the cold rolled. Okay. And also they have been given certain moment capacity a priori. Hot rolled, cold form, all this channel section, considering the plastic moment, considering the plastic section, compact section and semi-compact section. I think with this, I'm just ending off this particular schedule of the plastic analysis and corresponding the plastic hinge calculations. Now I'll be giving you certain, let me just where is that? Oh, sorry. It's not coming properly. Let me just open one second, just give me some time. Okay, so with this, I am just ending of the your plastic hinge and related details. Now I'm going to solve a particular problem over here based on the previous calculation or previous discussions. Okay, so the problem is given something like this way. That let me just draw first. There's so many problems where are supposed to be discussed in the class itself, so that you guys need not be bothered about the how to make the solutions and all, and it will help you in for preparing your tutorial sets and all. This is 16 mm. There is a load is being applied 200 kilonewton. This is the thing. The T section plate is 260 mm and the thickness of this T section beam is I guess it is a 25 mm. Okay, so 16 mm and all these things are given over here. So the problem statement is something like this, that this is a hanger section or hanger connection, and this is a T section. Okay, this is a T section from here to here. This is a T. Over the T section, another one plate has been provided. Okay, now the T section, the plate is it is 260 by 150 mm size. 260 in one dimension, 150 in other dimension, and it is a 25 mm thick. Two bolts are being specified over here, which is having the 30 mm dia. Right. Now from here, this is the only this particular information is giving to you. You have to identify about the adequacy of this hanger, whether this hanger connection is adequate or inadequate. Suggest, and if it is inadequate, then suggest a way to make that particular design to be adequate in terms of the load carrying capacity. The load has been applied over here 200 kilonewton. Okay. So to proceed with this particular problem, nothing has been provided to you other than this. So what we are going to make, we are making certain assumptions over here, because those things should be provided in the problem statement. Okay. What are the first assumption? What is the grade of the steel? Let's say I'm providing or assuming grade of the steel Fe410, which is having the Fu grade of the steel of the plate. Do not consider it is a bolt. 410 MPa. Same plate which is having the yield strength, let's say 240 or 250. Okay. It may go with the 240 also, because you have to specify with the depending on its thickness. Unless and otherwise it has been specified, you can consider. If it is specified, then you can consider this one. If it is not specified, then depending on the thickness, you have to make ensure that Fy you are taking the correct thing. For bolt, diameter of the bolt 30 mm, grade 4.6, assuming if it is 4.6, then FUB 400 MPa. Okay. Now for a 30 mm dia of the bolt, what would be the ANB? That you have to find it out. And what is the diameter of the hole? That would be, okay, that also you have to find it out. I'm not going to solve it now. I'm just giving you what are the steps that can be followed it over here. Okay. Now what is the proof stress? This is the hanger connection. So what kind of, whenever we are talking about the adequacy or inadequacy, what are the things we are basically talking about? We are basically thinking of now that in terms of the prying force, whether it is adequate or not adequate. Okay. If it is adequate or not adequate, if it is adequate, then the things are okay. If it is not adequate, then we have to make increase of the ultimately what we require. If it is not adequate, that means only the thickness of this particular T member we have to play with, and this thickness of the member we have to increase above 25 mm to ensure that whatever the moment that is being applied due to the additional moment that is being applied due to the prying action, that we are going to consider, or the thickness is going to consider over there. Okay. So now for that, let's say what is the FU proof stress would be? The proof stress F naught is equal to 0.7 times of FUB. So whatever you first write down the formulas that is been required and calculate all the required quantities that you need for that, because then what would happen, the calculation process would become much clear. Okay, so it would become now 280 ke aspas. Now let's consider that it is a non-pretensend bolt. So that for that, ultimately what we are going to do, we are going to calculate what is the LE. For calculation of the LE, what is the formula? 1.1 times thickness square root of beta F0 by Fy. Okay. So if I want to find it out, this LE, I want this F0. F0 is the proof stress. Fy is the yield stress. So proof stress I have been calculated. What is the beta? If it is a non-pretension, if it is a pretension, there are so many factors are there. So here I am considering, you can consider anything. Here I considered it is the non-pretension. So non-pretension if it is, so then beta would be equal to 2. And what is your thickness would be? Thickness is already been specified. T is equal to 25. Okay. Thickness of the plate of that T section. Okay. Now, if the thickness of the plate of the T section has been specified, then you can easily calculate what is the LE would be. 25. What are the other things that we require? LV. What is LV? LV also can be find it out. 260. There is also a formula to find it out the LV, right? Minus 16 by 2. Okay. Minus 8. Minus 50. So 260 means LV means this one. This particular thing you have to find it out. So if in both the side the LV can be there. So I want to find it out 1 LV. So this particular entire dimension of this plate divide by 2 first. So if it is divided by 2, then from this central line to here I have to calculate. So how much it would be? It would be already 8 mm thick weld is there. Okay, so 16 by 2 to be there. From here to here, if I want to go, 16 by 2 is there, minus 8. So if I go, then this particular point is coming up. Okay, so minus 50. That means from the end to this point, it is minus 50. And overall, it is 260 by 2. Right. So from there, we can calculate what is the LV is. For me, it is coming 64 mm. Okay. For me, it is coming 64 mm. Now, if you look into the lecture slides, you will find that 2TE is equal to, should be equal to 200. So from here, the TE would be equal to 100 kilonewton. Okay. Once it has been 100 kilonewton, then your LU is already been identified, or you can calculate from here. So LE, whatever you have been calculated, this LE, I am just calculating, this LE comes for me 42. So LE is lesser than, LE is lesser of 41.158 mm or 42 or 50 mm. (41.582) means I have considered 42. Okay, now from here, lesser of these two. So lesser of these two means 42 mm I am considering. Just to do these calculations. I may be making the mistake. So once this is done, then you calculate prying force. You can take that prying force formula altogether. LV by 2LE TE minus beta. The big formula is there. F naught PE T to the power 4 divided by 27 LE LV square. Otherwise, you can take the simplified formula also. So either way, if you are considering, it would be coming for you as a 68, almost 68 kilonewton, something like that. So total strength or total force on the bolt would be, let's say I'm considering total force on the bolt TB. It would be the TE plus this Q. This is a Q prime force. So which is coming around 168 kilonewton. Right. So now this is the total tensile force on the bolt. Now you calculate what is your tensile capacity. Tensile capacity of the bolt. Okay. If you find the tensile capacity of the bolt now, design tensile capacity of the bolt. Design tensile capacity of the bolt. You may end up with a something like 154 kilonewton. Design tensile capacity of the bolt. You may end up with this here, 154 kilonewton. Now you see, capacity is less, applied load is more. So definitely the bolt would be failed in the tension. Bolt would be failed in the tension, or it will start developing the plastic hinge over there in the bolt itself. So for that, so that means the design which has been provided over here, it is unsafe or inadequate. So to make it adequate, what we require to find it, or what we can do, only we can alter over here two things. One is the diameter of the bolt, that is, I don't know how much it is possible, diameter of the bolt, that we can increase, because if you are increasing the diameter of the bolt, the nominal or the design tensile capacity will increase, but not significantly it will increase. There is another one way that you can do, that is increase the thickness of the plate from 25, let's say, to 35. Then your prying force, the force due to this prying action, because as it is a T to the power 4 is coming everywhere, in the LV also T is involved, or LE is also T is involved. So this particular thickness may affect significantly rather than affecting by the diameter of the bolt itself. Okay, so do this